So basically, the fall guy, we have Ryan Gosling, again, America's sweetheart, move over Sandra Bullock. Welcome back to the Hub on Hollywood podcast. I'm your co-host, James Rojas.
And I'm Jamie Blanco.
On this week's episode, we have a great interview with the local Boston actor and filmmaker Paul Taft, and we talk about his upcoming projects. The Fall Guy has crashed into theaters, but should it be called The Flop Guy? We will take a look at the box office numbers. I know. We'll get into it.
Okay.
And Harry Potter is coming to Boston. You know it, on a broomstick, of course. But first, Jamie, is this the start of a bummer summer at the box office?
Oh, well, when you say it like that, I don't know. I like to be a little optimistic, you know?
I do too, but the numbers don't lie, Jamie. The numbers don't lie. And at this moment, it doesn't look like the summer's having a great start because for the first time since 2009, the summer box office does not have a Marvel film to kick off the movie season. That's whether they're good or bad movies. They are sure to bring in people and bring in a lot of money. We don't have that this summer, so not off to a great start. And secondly, another point to kind of build this case of a bummer summer is that though it is getting really good reviews, The Fall Guy, starring America's sweetheart Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, it stumbled with a $28 million first opening weekend, much lower than what was projected. So far, not a great takeoff for the summer season.
And that's incredible. So how many years did you say since it's been without?
Since 2009. That's insane.
That we've had a Marvel movie every May, every kickoff to. That's incredible. How do you feel about that?
It's crazy.
To begin with, because we've had Marvel so much, and now are we over Marvel? Are we oversaturated? Are there not enough stories to tell? What's how do you feel about that?
I think we're possibly over Marvel. It's it's going to be hard to bounce back from this thing. But I think the 2008 was when Iron Man came out, and then every summer following that, we just had Marvel. Yeah. It was like a holiday of sorts for that opening weekend, but no more. Those days of marvelous movies are gone. So
I wonder too for Fall Guy. Because spectacular reviews. You and I are going to talk about it. We both enjoyed it. You had some criticism, but we'll get there. I don't know. I feel like the marketing could have been more aggressive. If you're filling that big of a hole, right? If there's a vacuum that has been left by, it's almost like, the vacuum left by the death of Captain America, or, Captain America is not there. You gotta have something to fill it up. And you gotta pump the people up. You gotta get them excited, right? What's that quote? You gotta get them going.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell. Yeah.
No, but
get the people
thing
going,
is, right now we have this weekend we have the opening of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which has always brought in a lot of money. The thing is, I was reminded that it came out this weekend. Like the advertisement, I'm not seeing it. If it's out there, I'm not seeing it. It's bananas. So this movie, though it is sure to bring in a lot of money, it may not be catching the wider general audience's ears. Maybe not until maybe week 2 or 3 when word of mouth spreads. But I'm hearing good things about the movie so far. I do want to see it. But again, like you said, maybe it's not getting the publicity or attention, these movies that are coming up. Like Furiosa, a Mad Max story that's coming out. That has some good buzz. But overall, again, nothing too crazy. Nothing that we'd hear from like the latest Marvel movie. So... we do have a good slate of stuff.
I guess there is something to be said. We do, but I think there is something to be said for that IP, for having the audience that's already in your pocket and ready to go, which is why we've got sequel after sequel after sequel after sequel. I can see how that that works in essence. As much as I complain about all of the sequels, it is that ready-made audience ready to go and give you their money, spend their money for you on those opening weekends. Fall Guy is a brand new thing, although I do think it's a remake from something in the 1980s, way back.
It was based off of a TV show, off a TV series, and so the IP is based off of that, and there's some fun nods to it. But I wouldn't call this an original movie, but it's based off of that series, so not a verbatim with the characters, and but it's good. But we have some good stuff coming up this summer. Again, as I mentioned, Furiosa, Mad Max story. If you're into this, the Garfield movie. We have Inside Out 2, The Bike Riders, A Quiet Place, Day One, Despicable 4, Twisters, Deadpool, and Wolverine may be the summer savior this year.
I think so.
We also have Alien, Romulus, and The Crow. So among several other movies. So not a bad lineup for the summer, but will they get the attention? Will the studios devote the advertisements and the buzz around there? We will have to wait and see. But Jamie, you were just talking about sequels and how you are tired of sequels, but let's talk about the king of sequels, and that is the world of Harry Potter. Would you agree with that statement? Like, is it the king of sequels, I think?
Yes, and for that, it's understandable. It's all of those books that you are adapting to screen. So I get that part. But then we've got a lot of the other Harry Potter spin-off movies, the world,
Fantastic Beasts,
at the theme parks, the Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Yes, I would agree with your statement. To be
excellent,
to be sure,
excellent.
Yes.
Well, thank you, because that's a good thing, because of the success of so many of those movies. Again, whether they're good or bad, the Fantastic Beasts, that's a whole another debate. But Harry Potter is coming to Boston. Tickets are now on sale for the Harry Potter the exhibition, where this September Potter fans, I call them potheads, they will be getting to see exhibits that celebrate iconic moments, characters, settings, and beasts as seen in the movies, and of course those fantastical films. But we will see original costumes, authentic props, first edition copies of Harry Potter, photo ops in different Hogwarts houses. There's a sorting hat. You'll get sorted right from the beginning. So what house do you belong to, Jamie?
Oh, Gryffindor all the way, baby.
Gryffindor?
Cool. And you?
I hang out with Hagrid. I'm in the Hagrid house.
Oh, you're in the Hagrid hut?
I'm too cool for the other three houses. I'm chilling with Hagrid. Yeah. So,
what happened? Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. Because Hagrid just minds his own business for the most part. He has like a hut in the woods. Like, I'm down to chill in the woods. Like, I don't need to be in the drama of the castle and the Death Eaters or whatever they're called, and the infighting, and I'm over that. I don't need to deal with that. So Hagrid has some cool dragons. He has some cool like stew always over the fire. Like, I'm always down for that. So
all right, chill.
Team Hagrid. Excellent. Let us know what team you're on if you're looking forward to this Harry Potter exhibit, as well as which movie you are looking forward to the most to this summer. Comment down below. Again, thank you so much for watching us, for listening to us on the Hub on Hollywood. You can always follow us on all the social media platforms at Hub on Hollywood, as well as streaming on any and every podcast streaming service, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. What else is there? There's like we're on all of them. It doesn't matter. We're there.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of us. Yeah, speaking of other cool stuff, how about a cool person? Because we just had this great interview with a Mr. Paul Taft, who you are very familiar with, Jamie.
Paul Taft, who is a prolific local filmmaker. He's both actor, assistant director. He's worked in pretty much everything that you can get your hands on behind the scenes and in front of the camera. Very happy to have him on the show today. Paul and I met on set on the set of Defending Jacob. We were both playing medical examiners, so we were wearing those big, giant, white, essentially body condoms. Okay, just to be honest, that's what we called them that day.
And just to be safe.
So it's a great, just to be safe, right? Exactly. So he and I bonded over that. Maybe we'll share some of those funny pictures, but wonderful to have the great Mr. Paul Taft joining us on the Hub on Hollywood, promoting one of his indie films that they are getting made right now, The Proof of Concept. So without further ado, here's our conversation with Mr. Paul Taft.
We are joined by Paul Taft, who has been acting on the big screen, small screen, and stage for a decade, and is now really getting into the world of producing and directing. Paul, thank you so much for joining us on the Hub on Hollywood.
Well, thanks for having me on.
So, Paul, first off, we'll talk about the really cool projects you're working on. But first off, let's go through your filmography, because I understand, as I said, you've been doing this for a decade. And have you been focused here in the New England area with projects, both big and small?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working primarily in the New England area. I mean, I've done some work outside of New England on both sides of the camera. I work as an actor, but also behind the camera as first AD, as a producer. Then on larger sets, I've done second AD work, first AD work. And I also, I suppose my day job, while I try to cross that line fully and finally into the acting side of things, is I'm a film accountant. And I work as a first assistant accountant in larger projects. I spent 6 months in New Orleans just a couple of years ago, working as a first assistant accountant on a Netflix film, in fact.
Is there any crossover in skills when it comes to the accounting to the filmmaking?
I guess just a general knowledge of film. I mean, that's why I branched out into that side of it. I mean, I was a child actor in England, in theater, started off with school plays and things, then branched out into community theater and, pantomime and things like that. And then I'd actually gone to college for a secondary math degree, a PGCE, and amidst that, joined the Footlight Society at the university and did a lot of musicals and theater, etc., a little Shakespeare, and then got connected with the head of drama there, and she was able to get me into the drama program, which is great. Just on the back of conversations we had, and then my volunteering with the department, and her seeing some promise in me. Ironically, I came over here that summer and met my future wife and never went home, so I never pursued that degree. But on the back of the experiences and the very kind words that the head of drama at Edgehill College had offered me, and the experiences I had of the last year, I decided to head to LA and pursue my acting career. And again, never did, because I met my wife. Actually, funny story as it is, I met my wife, got to know her for about a week, and then headed on my journey, my pilgrimage to LA, and only got as far as DC before I decided to hitch a ride back with one of my friends. And 6 months before Good Will Hunting did it, I went to see About a Girl.
You went to see About a Girl.
Yeah, and we just celebrated 25 years of marriage, actually, in the fall.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we have 3 kids. My daughter is about to go into her senior year. So the rest of that is history. But I actually branched away from acting and worked as a landscaper and built a company under the umbrella of an owner who had hired me as a foreman, and then I took over the company over time as the operations manager while he did something else. And about 10 years ago, I worked as an extra on a local film. And discovered there was an entire film industry here up in New England, so I could actually pursue that part of my dream there. So after that, I left that company to think about pursuing something else, and moved into acting, and found there was a whole industry for me to pursue all the angles and all the areas in. And after starting in some acting, I then found that I really wanted to understand the business more. So then I moved into the other side of the camera.
Right. So I think, first of all, I love that story. That is like movie-worthy story to begin with. I think people underestimate how important the financial side of things is, because without the money, you don't make the movie. So I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about that part of the business, like the business part of making movies, and how you moved from like maybe financials to the directing side.
So, funnily enough, it really comes, the financial side, the accounting comes from just my understanding and love of numbers. I got the opportunity to work as an accounting clerk on Castle Rock after I'd worked as the driver coordinator on Proud Mary and Slenderman, amongst other things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so and having the mathematical background, I stepped into that really as a paycheck. It was 10 episodes, so it was about 6 months of work all at once in film, and you get to be close to the business. But then you get to see the other side of it, and get to see the processes that take place, and the real hard line that comes into it. It's if a movie can't be pieced together under the financial constraints that are laid out, then it becomes a massive system of bartering and giving and taking, so to speak. Because where money gets overspent in other places, it has to be, retrieved from different areas. Or the final hurdle would be, you got to go to the studio and say, hey, we're gonna
more money, please.
Yeah, exactly. And those things happen. I mean, it happened on that film to a massive extent. We were affected by a number of things. Tornadoes, which were very unusual for New Orleans. We were affected by the fact that there had been a hurricane in the fall between the first attempt at the shoot, which got shut down, entirely new story, where they held on to sets and so on and so forth. But because of the hurricane, a lot of those sets that they built, that they had held to use again, they couldn't, because they'd been destroyed in the weather of the hurricane, covered in mold, etc. So they had to be rebuilt. So that's some more expense that came out. At one point, our production office was shut down because a bird flew into a transformer, which knocked out power for 3 days at the production.
Do you ever wonder, like, maybe there's a force trying to prevent us from making this project?
Well, this movie that alone was the third go around. The first time it was shut down by the pandemic. The second time it was shut down because lead actor moved on. That's a whole different story. So then they restarted, and that was the third time of asking, and it finally got finished, finally got done, but it still hasn't been released. And there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of complications. But back to the original question, that's important because we are up against the same issues. You want to fairly take care of people. So I'm making a small movie and I employ Jamie as an actor. I want to make sure she's compensated for her time as best as I can, whomever is manning the camera, same. Whomever is recording the sound, the same. Hair and makeup. But we do have constraints, and we do tend to rely on people's ambition and goodwill and camaraderie as best we can in certain extents. A group of people that love to make movies together will make movies together and figure out how to do it on their own time. It's the very nature of the 48-hour film festival, for instance.
Well, speaking of the business of finding money, elsewhere or in places, let's talk about this Indiegogo, because right now you're working on this proof of concept short film called Trumpet Gumbo. Right off the bat, that name, Trumpet Gumbo, my interest is piqued. What is this about?
Trumpet Gumbo is a project from Brad Kodamosh, who is a local industry professional. He actually works in marketing and social media marketing. It's his day job, as we like to say, because we all have to carry a day job until we can really achieve our dreams, right? But that serves him very well. But he has I've met and got to know Brad through the New England film industry, working on things like Castle Rock, etc. And he has had the story in his head for a while, and he calls it his love letter to the things that are most important to him in his life. Those being, New Orleans. He loves the city and loves the culture of New Orleans, the music behind it, the jazz, the food of that culture, and most importantly, he's a father now. And it's a story about the connection between a father and a son, and what they can pass on. And in a nutshell, that's the basics behind the story.
So, what's the state of the project right now? Like, do you have a cast? Are they locals? Are they from the area, or from the region where filming's taking place? Like, what does that look like?
So we have a mixture of things. We have our main cast. We have a few of our peripheral folks in line. We'll certainly be. I think we just put out a call for extras in the dates. We're filming at the just the end of the first week of August type time. I believe it's the 10th and 11th, but the dates are out there on the posts. And I can give you some social media links for people to follow up on. And we have Chef Enzo DeLuca is our lead actor in a sense of notoriety. We have John Fiore, who is very well known. He was a staple on Law and Order for a long time. I think he's only did about 50 or 60 episodes of Law and Order, but he's well known from Brotherhood, Person of Interest, and The Sopranos is the name that most people recognize. Yeah, nice. Right away. Very well established. He actually did a few turns like earlier on in some of the soaps as well. I think Guiding Light was one of the things which I thought was
nice
because he plays he does have a very very recognizable persona. Will often play a very menacing type in these things. I just kind of think of him in those kind of TV shows as a little bit of off the wall kind of addition to those folks. But
I think that some people, not to interrupt, but I think some people would be surprised, or maybe don't realize how much talent there is here, and how many of these films get made, both indie and the bigger films. I was wondering if you could talk to just a little bit. You've already started. Talk about the kind of talent that is available here in New England, and the people that you do get to work with as far as creating this proof of concept and all of the other projects that you work on.
Well, yeah, I mean, our lead actor and our lead character is Brandon Scales. Brandon Scales is a locally based actor. He's appeared in a bunch of different films. He gets involved in things, etc. But Brandon's a great example of somebody who has gained some traction in the local industry, has managed to secure himself a number of roles, etc. But is woefully under-recognized, which I think is something that we kind of suffer from here, because we have a bevy of talent. I mean, there's a lot of great local actors, who have done very well and branching out, but some of them are forced to kind of leave town, so to speak, to find a greater opportunity elsewhere. Ian Lyons is a good friend of mine, very recognizable name. He's been in an awful lot of films and shows recently, in Julia, etc. Ian is now still in New England because he likes to stay in this area, but he's had to move into Connecticut to move a little further away. Jose Gonsalves, another very good actor. Again, saw him last year or the year before opposite Paul Giamatti in Billions, and looking just like he should be there, not out of place even slightly, and the names go on and on. Zelia Avradopoulos is another really talented actress. I worked with her comedically in some commercials, etc. She's now based in Atlanta, unfortunately, because she had to go where the work is, because we don't necessarily get the opportunity here as much as we can. We do have local agencies like Boston Casting and Slate Casting, etc., and then budding local individuals such as Heather Whitty, who actually take acting classes with locally, who have a lot of experience in casting and are trying to really kind of fly the flag of local talent as best as they can in New York and even further afield. But there is a surprising number of folks that you'll see in the local films that are made here, big budget Hollywood films that are made here, that you don't realize are actually based right here in Boston. But I think we definitely need to fly our flags and make as many movies as we can ourselves, to really try and put a banner out there that says, hey, we're here, we've got the talent, we're ready, and we need to get just as much of a look as others. The unfortunate circumstance, I think, for us is that while we have some agencies here and we have some folks that work for us on our behalf, there is a whole bevy of agents who are working tirelessly in New York, in Atlanta, in LA, to sell their actors and to pursue and to forge these relationships, which mean that, whereas there may be 3 or 4 perfectly talented and maybe even the perfect face or the perfect person for a role here at a Boston movie, chances are it's going to go to somebody out of New York who has a much more, notorious agent, has a much more I guess trustworthy is not the best word, because I think the agents are just as trustworthy.
Maybe recognition.
They've established their place in the industry, and when one agent says I've got the perfect person, and the other one says I've got the perfect person, you're going to go with the person that's already cast you 20 or 30 different actors in Oscar-winning movies, etc., as opposed to this guy who may just as good an eye, but hasn't been here as long, hasn't been doing it as long. So I think, in answer to your original question, Jamie, I think there is a certain amount of people getting overlooked in New England, because there is a massive amount of talent on both sides of the camera.
We need to change that.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing I love about what Jamie and I are trying to do is try to publicize and try to promote and try to get those names and faces out there of the local talent, of very talented people who may get overlooked, who deserve a shot at some of these big roles, big projects. So we're going to try our best to promote not only other talent, but also yourself as well. And we'll be sure to have links in our bio down below regarding Trumpet Gumbo with Indiegogo and the effort to, get this project, up and running. And you said in August, right? That's when the shoot date is expected to start.
Yeah. It's I believe it's August 10th and 11th is when we were actually looking for some background performers to join us on set, to fill in as chefs in our kitchen and so on and so forth. But yeah, we have our Indiegogo up right now. We've secured donations in the realm of about $1,800. We have a goal of $10,000 because films are expensive, as you know. There's an awful lot. We want to make sure that our actors do get paid. We want to make sure that our crew does get paid, and this movie's going to get made. It's just as we try to pump as much into it as we can, we're hoping for people to share our vision and have the passion, and those who may have resources financially or just time or skill based, who wish to be a part of something memorable and notable, that can get involved. Because what we're looking to do here is make a short film that really captures the attention, and we're able to then find backing to make the feature film and tell the full story and really get the Trumpet Gumbo experience out there. And it's something that can work. It's something I've already been a part of. I did work as a second AD on a film a few years ago called Last Night in Rosie, which starred Neil Brown Jr. of SEAL Team fame and Jeremy Sisto, who is on FBI currently, and well-established actors, but also a good number of local actors, etc. That film was a short film that went into festivals and won a ton of awards, but it was the producer, Ryan's personal story and personal and passion project about a struggle with alcoholism and how it might affect your family around you and so on and so forth. And that became a feature film, an award-winning feature film that was made with a $500,000 budget. And that came of making a short film, out of, $10,000 and putting it to festivals and showcasing it around and finding a real fan base for the story and for those that were behind the story and that had pieced it together. And that was one of those success stories where the goal was reached and the dream was made. And it was an especially good one because a lot of local young actors were involved in it, because it was a tale that was told over decades. So the characters that were played by Neil and Jeremy were actually portrayed earlier in the film by a couple of young local actors who did really great in the film and were supported by a cast of many. And again, these were all local actors.
Well, I can't wait to see Trumpet Gumbo become a success story as well. So we definitely have to have you back in August after this whole thing is wrapped up. So afterwards of that. But Paul, I thank you for your time so much for being here on the Hub on Hollywood. Do you want to mention really quick Pickleball 2? This is a short comedy that you directed.
Yes. Yeah. We're in post-production right now on that. Currently, the rough cut is being edited together. A lot of fun. Another local project. Elizabeth Crowley-Dings as a local actress. She financed and produced it. She's out of Cohasset here on the South Shore. Included a bunch of local actors: Marilyn Bush, Ellen Colton, and John O'Halloran, Joe Smallwood, Joe Collingmore, and Pamela Morgan, who is another one of our local success stories when it comes to acting. She's based out of Rehoboth, but has seen a lot of traction in City on the Hill. She was just in an Oscar-winning movie alongside Paul Giamatti that was recently made here, and just very, very fortunate to have those folks in my cast, and looking forward to getting that one out, putting it into festivals, so on and so forth. A short comedy, a sequel to the original Pickleball movie, and just taking us a little bit outside the box with a little bit of a mystery.
Well, pickleball is all the rage, and so, yeah, I can't wait for Pickleball 2 to come out. Paul, thank you so much for joining us on the Hub on Hollywood. Wish you the best, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you soon again.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
And thank you, Paul. We can't wait to have him back on the show, James. So many things that we can talk about with Paul, so looking forward
He'll be back.
To that. He'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back. Now, James...
I always love a good Terminator reference.
Right. You know where I'll be back to
Where?
Very shortly is the movie theater.
Absolutely, as we all should be.
Yes. I saw Fall Guy last night. I cannot wait to go and see this again with as many people as I possibly can. I could not stop smiling. I think I messaged you in the middle of the night, very inappropriately. I'm like, oh my God, I loved it. Yeah, so loved this movie. James, what is it about?
So basically, The Fall Guy, we have Ryan Gosling, again, America's sweetheart, move over Sandra Bullock. He is starring as Colt Seavers, a stuntman who is getting back into the movie-making business after coming off of a fresh, almost career-ending accident. He, however, gets recruited to track down the star of a film, solve a conspiracy, and try to win back the love of his life, who just so happens to be the movie's director, character, Jodie, played by none other than Emily Blunt. This stars also Aaron Taylor Johnston, Winston Duke of Black Panther, love that dude. And this is directed by David Leitch, a former stuntman himself, and also the director of Deadpool 2 and Bullet Train, 2 other great movies with amazing stunts. This guy knows how to shoot, how to film stunts on camera. It's really, really good.
Yeah, not only does he know how to film stunts, he knows how to tell a story with humor and heart that just draws you in and just makes you smile uncontrollably, as I said before. James, the dynamic between Ryan Reynolds, this is character.
Ryan Gosling.
Sorry,
America's Sweetheart.
America's Sweetheart. Between Ryan's character and Emily's character is so sweet. It's so, like, it'll give you a toothache. This movie is so fun. And it's not only a love letter, as many people have said, to the stunt community, which they give so much credit, so much love to, but to filmmaking in general. This is a movie about how to make movies and about loving making movies and how much work and effort and the lives, your life, the stuntmen are the ones putting their lives on the line, but you dedicate your life to creating the magic that comes out on film. And I think that's what makes Ryan's character more adorable, is not only is he in love with Emily Blunt's character, but he loves her dream. He's fighting for her dream. And that's what makes him like the dream guy in this movie. So what was your take? How did you feel going into this?
Well, I do agree that this was showing its appreciation to the, not only, as you mentioned, the filmmaking industry, but also the stunt men and women who make this possible. And I love that there's this Oscar joke, because at one point somebody asks, like, are you guys nominated for Oscars? And he goes, no. And so I think that was a good, like, kind of jab to the Academy and all those other award shows that show, like, yeah, these guys definitely deserve
it
and are owed, a backlog of awards for their great contribution to the filmmaking industry. But yeah, this is a very fun movie with really cool stunts, great chemistry, as you mentioned, with Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt. The movie, so enjoyable with a lot of funny moments. I will say, despite several plot holes in the movie that I think that if there were any more plot holes in this movie, you'd just be following through with it. But like, this is one of those movies where it's so much fun that you can kind of like let things, slide, let them pass, and just enjoy the ride. But yeah, there's some things in here that you, upon further review, you're like, that doesn't really make sense, or this kind of, you needed X, Y, Z, and A, B, C to all fall in line for this thing to happen. And so if that didn't happen, the movie wouldn't happen. And so you have to look past some of those things, which isn't too hard to do with all the visual stunts, with all the humor, the chemistry that do make it work. So I really do recommend this movie because, it's fun. It's hitting well with audiences and critics overall. So I think, and I hope, despite its lackluster opening weekend that did not meet projections, I hope that good word of mouth will help this movie have legs and carry on into the summer or through the season, hopefully maybe into the summer, and folks can enjoy this, because I think this is a good theatrical experience too.
I think the characters are very relatable. The pacing was well done. The score, I really enjoyed the score. There's a Taylor Swift song that makes it into the movie, and that's kind of... this is not a spoiler. I mean, maybe a light spoiler. Not really a spoiler because it's been out in the promotional materials, but he's like crying in a car, listening to Taylor Swift when Emily's character comes and like talks to him and comforts him in the car. And it's just the relatability of these characters in the mix of all of these spectacular stunts. They give a nod to the Miami Vice boat show that they have, I think, at Universal Studios or one of the theme parks. It's something that I grew up seeing and going to see. So that's really cool. and it feels like you're at a theme park in a lot of these moments. It feels like you're watching a stunt show.
Yeah, the stunts are really good. Like the thing that is awesome is that, and this isn't a spoiler, but at the end of the movie during the credits, they'll show you like the behind the scenes, footage of the stunt work, and it does come across as very impressive during the film. However, I think this is kind of a drawback with some of the use of CGI, because there are some scenes where I thought, okay, maybe they didn't do this exactly, like maybe on location, maybe they used a green screen or some effect, but then you see the footage afterwards and you do see that, hey, like it they actually did do it. And so I think if they pulled back on some of the CGI, it would have made it look more realistic. So other than that minor complaint about the effects or about the stunts, overall it was good.
Yeah. And I was really invested in the relationship. I mean, there are some movies where, it's a love story or, a love comedic story, and I don't really care as much. Like, I'm not as invested. Like, for some reason, the way that this film is put together, I was so invested and so desperate for a happy ending, and actually at the edge of my seat, even though this is it's more of like a popcorn kind of just enjoyable, it's going to be a happy ending movie, but for some reason I was just so overly invested, and I think that is just the magic of the charisma and the charm that is Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Just completely adorable. And can I just make one last comment here? Light spoiler, James. How much did you love or not? What did you feel about the split screen scene?
I liked it. I thought it worked. And I know they made fun of it, or one thing that they do in this movie is kind of make fun of like the filmmaking tropes or whatnot or what have you. But I think it worked for this one. So I enjoyed that split screen moment. So I thought that worked.
The comedic timing was just so beautiful. And not only are they having this like totally relatable, adorable conversation, but in the slightly dramatic moments, then Emily like lifts her hand and she's wearing like an alien finger. And it's like just the comedic timing of it. And the way that it came together was, award worthy in and of itself. I gotta tell you, I love split screen. The Last Jedi.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing you like? Yeah.
The thing I like. I think it's well done. And I enjoy it when it's done well in movies. What's the other one? There's a musical with Ewan McGregor and
Moulin Rouge?
Jones. No, it's not that one. Down with Love. Maybe it's not a musical, but there's a film with Ewan McGregor, Down with Love. They use split screens a lot, and it's just so freaking enjoyable. It just makes you smile. So if you want a movie that's a feel-good movie for everyone, go see Fall Guy. What did you think about it? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll give you a shout out next episode.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to talk more about Fall Guy, because maybe in a week or two we could talk about some of the spoilers, and hopefully word of mouth makes it carry on and noteworthy to keep talking about. But you know what else is always noteworthy and good to talk about? Some great movies with some great quotes. That was a smooth transition, right?
All right, let's see. Yeah. Smooth.
On Cinequote, basically, if you are not familiar with it, it is a game where every day there is a new movie selected, new movie picked, and you have to guess which movie it is based off of the quotes that are given. You have 5 chances, and right now we are on a 2-movie win streak. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. So hopefully we can increase this to 3, but so for today's game, number 512, we'll get started and try to see if we get this right. And for those watching, those listening, hopefully you can help us out, play along, and see if you beat us or we beat you when it comes to guessing these movies. But Jamie, if you're ready, we can play quote number 1 in 3, 2, 1.
I got a reputation to uphold. People put their trust in me because they know I always deliver the goods and I always come back with the money. This whole thing is making me look very bad professionally.
Oh, this sounds so familiar.
Oh.
Do you know?
Nope, I don't. Let's go to the next quote.
Well, we have to guess. I think we can guess. It's not this, but I kind of want to say Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
It's not, but
Let's throw that in.
I just want to get it out of my brain. Reservoir Dogs in 3, 2, 1. Imagine if it was. No. So, quote number 2 in 3, 2, 1.
Well, I'm a reasonable man. About 15. The deal is 5. 5? I can do better than 5 here.
That's Danny DeVito.
If you can do better than $5 million, well then, son, you take it.
Negro, I'll see you in Houston. After all, fair is fair.
Is that Danny DeVito?
It sounds like Danny DeVito to me.
Any guess?
No.
I'm going through my Danny DeVito Rolodex.
Just spinning that in your head.
All I have is Twins or Batman, and they're not those movies.
Well, let's try Twins for fun.
Twins for fun. Okay, Twins, 1988. In 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, it was.
It is Twins. Yeah.
I said Twins. I said I was right. I guessed Twins.
All right.
That was
you
me.
You were right. Hey, I told you Danny DeVito. So.
That is true. You said Danny
right.
DeVito. And to be fair, I think the only movies I know that at the top of my head with him in it are Twins and Batman. So,
and Matilda.
We did this.
Matilda
And Matilda. Yeah, that's also we're so good at this. We just increased our win streak to 3. Take that,
Woo-hoo!
Those at home.
All right.
Now I'm jazzed.
How did you guys do?
All right. Well, I'm feeling a movie high right now. Well, let us know how well did you do. Let us know also which movie you are looking forward to most this summer, as well as what are your thoughts on The Fall Guy? We enjoy The Fall Guy. Do you enjoy The Fall Guy?
Yeah.
Fall Guy.
I fell in love with The Fall Guy. Yeah.
You fell in love. You fell for The Fall Guy.
Yes.
Well, great episode. Also a great interview, once again, with Paul Taft. We will be keeping an eye on his projects, and be sure to check out the links down in the description regarding the Indiegogo and the effort to raise funds for Trumpet Gumbo. So,
that's right.
Gumbo.
And keep it here on the Hub on Hollywood. We will continue. Yeah, it's good. It's fun to say. We will continue to bring you really cool interviews over the next couple of weeks. So stick with us for that. And until then, James, I am Jamie.
I'm James.
We'll
Bye.
see you then.
We'll see you next week.